This past Sunday, we celebrated Easter and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And if there's ever been anything to happen in this world that is God-sized, it is the resurrection. Following Jesus' death, his apostles and his followers, they were faced with this hard question. They were faced with a crisis of belief. Do I really believe what I've been saying I believe about God? This is a tough question to ask, and there are going to be times in our life where we ask questions like this. Is God who he says he is? Am I really taking that to heart? Am I truly living like I believe that? This crisis of belief, it's a turning point often when it comes to experiencing God. And it never just happens once. It can happen with regularity, and it's at this point that we have a choice to make. The way you respond will determine whether you become involved with God in something that he's doing that's God-sized, that only he can do. So we either join him in that, or we go our own way and we miss what God has purposed for our life. So let's take a minute and reflect on this question. Have you ever experienced a point in your life where you had to decide whether or not you believed in what God can do? Encounters with God require faith. Let me read you a few verses about living in faith. Now, faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Hebrews 11:1. Jesus said, "Very truly I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works that I have been doing, and they will do even greater things than these, because I'm going to the Father." John 14:12. And Jesus replied, "Because you have so little faith, truly I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you." Matthew 17, verses 20 and 21. Faith is confidence that what Jesus has promised or said will come to pass. How often do you look at something that we think God has called us to and we go, "Yeah, I can do that, no doubt"? If that's ever been the case, then I wonder if we have more faith in God or more faith in ourselves. After all, we join God in what he is doing through us. We don't wait for God to join us in the things that we think we're able to accomplish through our own limited abilities and resources. A major part of the faith journey is getting out of our own way, getting out of our own stubbornness and out of our own ego, and trusting that God is who he says he is, and that God will accomplish what he says he's going to accomplish. I wonder how long a person had to follow Jesus around before they actually believed that he is who he says he is. Did Jesus just have strong logic or the correct language or good reasoning? Did that win over most of his followers? Or did Jesus gain the most traction when he performed his miracles? I'm convinced that the only way a person will truly believe that God is who he says he is when they see God do something, especially when God does something in their personal world that hits close to home. It's hard to define exactly what's God-sized and what's not. The size of a work of God might look different to each of us. This one act of God might seem big in one person's life, but small in another person's life. But one is no less powerful than the other, because when we encounter God, we are changed. What our world often witnesses today are strong, devoted Christians, but they don't see anything happening because what they're seeing can't really be described as an act of God. Why might that be? Could it be because we're not attempting to do things that only God can do? What have you been a part of lately that only God can do? And who was around to witness it? If you find yourself in a situation like that, be sure to give glory to God. Let the world watch what God is doing, and he will attract people to himself. I hope you're not watching this video and thinking, am I being questioned about just how much or just how little faith I have? Absolutely not. What I want you to hear is that God is inviting you into deeper faith every day. One way that we can evaluate the health of our faith is to look at our actions, because what we do reveals what we believe. If you walk in faith long enough, God is going to reveal himself to you and invite you to do something with him. When God invites you to join him, you will likely have a crisis of belief, a turning point, and what you do next will reveal what you believe about God and what he can do. It's our job to respond to God's invitation. Responding in faith is probably the hardest part of the faith journey, but when we do respond, we can see immense payoff. In this way, our actions build up our faith more than anything we could see or read or think. A strong and genuine faith is demonstrated through action. So let me leave you with this little bit of encouragement. When you are faced with a crisis of belief, have faith. That faith will bloom into the confidence that you need to respond to God's invitation, his invitation to participate in his will and his works. When you join him, he will do something God-sized in you and through you. Then you will know what it means to believe.